So I've got a few questions. Number one, what still has to happen before you're able to launch?
Well, several things. So we're all here at the gym now.
Right.
And
Looking around, it's empty.
it's empty.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few pieces of used equipment that have come in. We have not yet put in our bulk order for equipment.
Okay.
So some larger pieces of equipment have to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the leg equipment, things like that, leg press, leg curl.
Right.
And then all our racks, dumbbells, things like that have to come in. We're also going to be doing matting.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of our mini-series covering the launch of Styrka. If you haven't heard the first 2 episodes, I would recommend going and doing that right now. If you have, then you'll recognize Mike Doolittle's voice there, kind of covering all the equipment and everything that needed to be done at Styrka. And that's what we'll be covering in this episode, which is everything that needs to happen in time for the gym's public launch, February 1st. So that first audio clip that we played at the beginning of the episode was one that we recorded when we first started doing this project, and at that point they hadn't ordered any of the equipment, they hadn't ordered the floorings or anything like that. And last week I actually went down to check in and see how everything was going. They've ordered the equipment, they've got it, they're actually assembling everything right now. And the public launch is February 1st, but they're actually doing a soft opening this upcoming Friday, which will be January 15th. That's going to be for friends and family members and other trainers that are wanting to come down and actually use the facility as their primary training spot. And then that's what they're going to use to gauge whether or not they have everything done, and kind of it gives them 2 weeks of cushion so that they can correct anything or address anything that they hadn't thought about. And we kind of covered that when I went down to talk with Doolittle. Me and him discussed all the things that actually need to happen. There's a lot of things people don't think about when it comes to launching a small business, and these things can be pitfalls if you launch this business and then all of a sudden it's super chaotic because a lot of things you just didn't think about weren't done. A couple weeks away from the launch, what needs to be done between now and the first week of January until then.
Well, as you can see, we've got a lot of the main equipment unpacked and assembled. So, dumbbell racks are up, glute ham developers assembled, oblique flexors there, 3 of our smaller squat racks are.
So this is from my recording last Thursday with Doolittle up at Styrka. I don't want to really bore everybody with the listing of equipment. Unless you're kind of in the fitness world, a lot of these names aren't going to mean anything for you. But they have a lot of equipment that they need to assemble. They got some stuff that's coming in. There's actually a lot done. I was surprised. I mean, the gym looks really, really good. They got the flooring down and all that, but there's this huge amount of boxes. We talked about that too, just because they have trash set up for next week.
Starting Monday, we're gonna have trash, which obviously, as you can see, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
They have some other pieces that are going to be coming in, some benches, stuff like that. They have to assemble this stuff, and that's if anybody's assembled fitness equipment, that takes forever. It's very monotonous. It's not something fun that a lot of people like to do. Beyond just the equipment and the trash and all that being set up, there are some other things that definitely need to happen before they can do even the soft launch this upcoming Friday.
No, not right now. We're gonna have a security system, but since Vanessa and I are gonna be here most of the time during the, and it's going to be closed at night, we don't really see the need for security cameras yet.
So just to condense our conversation a little bit, me and Doolittle talked about 15 minutes, and the big things that need to be done, and they're going to be happening this upcoming week, is they needed the security system installed. That's what we were just talking about in that clip right there. Security system installed, Wi-Fi. They have to put in the water fountain. Couple pieces of equipment need to come in. They have to put all that stuff out for trash. There's some stuff in the window that needs to be taken down. They already have the office set up, so that's done. Then they got to get some of the cleaning and all of that done, and just got to get it prepped for that launch. Like I said, they're going to be doing a soft opening this upcoming Friday, so the trainers and everybody can come in. So that's part of the thing too, is they want to get it ready for that. That way there's just not this huge pile of boxes and none of the equipment set up and stuff like that. And they still have some pieces that they need to finish setting up this upcoming week. One of the other items that they're waiting on also is actually the sign. Now, a lot of people that have looked into doing a small business know this, that when you lease a space, you have to basically pay for and have somebody make a huge sign for you. That's part of your lease agreement. So they have to get that done, which is a cost that they've factored into everything. There's some other stuff that we talked about, like mirrors that are ridiculously expensive. And you want to go with local people for a lot of these things, but sometimes it's just not cost effective. We kind of pointed out the fact that some people want like $4,000 for just the small area that he wanted covered with mirrors, and that's not a cost that they're kind of worried about right now. Not a lot of people like mirrors in gyms. The industry is kind of going that way right now anyways. Some of the things that we talked about were, having the bottled water, and they're going to have a water fountain, but having bottled water and RTDs, which are ready to drink, protein drinks and stuff like that, that's something they're worried about down the road. So there's a lot of things that they've kind of pushed to the side. They're not necessities. They're kind of just wanting to make sure that all the necessities are covered right now for this. And then as the gym begins to grow, we talked about some of the equipment that he's looking at. That way he can bring a whole bunch of new stuff in. He kind of has this ongoing wish list that once they reach a certain point, they can start to buy these things.
By the time it becomes a problem where there are so many members that there's starting to be a clog, we'll be buying new equipment. And I've actually got an Excel document that's like my wish list for Rogue.
Doolittle has some interest from some trainers to use Styrka to train their clients, and a lot of times trainers might actually bring equipment with them also. So he actually might get some equipment just from the trainers wanting to use the facility. So that's another option for him also. So there's a lot of things that go into these startup small businesses that people have to kind of create a checklist and make sure all of these things get done before launch. With February 1st kind of looming in the next couple weeks, around Christmas time, they had the huge order come in. Mike and Vanessa actually went down to Costa Rica for vacation. Me and James talked about this. I don't know if it's a move we would have necessarily made, just because we probably would have been up there 24/7 just making sure all this stuff's getting done. At the same time, I think it's one of those things where they wanted to just get one last hurrah before they're kind of consumed with this thing 24/7, at least for the next 6 months to a year, where they're just trying to get it up and going. So there's a lot of things that need to be, like I said, completed. We talked about the advertising, and with advertising, it's kind of word of mouth with this. They're not going to pour a whole bunch of money. Doolittle kind of stressed that there's been this huge backing of the facility, and a lot of people are extremely excited to see this thing, and we're kind of all just rooting for them. So definitely curious to see everything once it's done in place, and just the response is something that we're looking forward to see from the community. I want to thank everybody for listening to this. We're not going to have a new episode for about another month and a half, because we're going to wait until the launch, and then we're going to just kind of see how the first month or two goes. And then we're going to come back with an update. We're going to be giving updates every couple months just to fill in everybody as to how many members Styrka has, get some insight into some things that are going very well with the gym, and then just some pitfalls, some things along the way, because there's always going to be kinks. There's always going to be things that are arising, and we kind of talked about that. As far as, the fact that it is a key fob gym, and they're either going to go with a key fob system or an app pairing to your phone where it kind of picks up on the Bluetooth. But we talked about these 24/7 gyms, and a lot of times the problems happen like late at night, and they won't be there, so they're going to have set hours. So we're just interested to see, perhaps some other things end up happening that they don't think about, where there's some problems. There's problems with trainers or people not paying or anything like that. So big thank you to everybody who's been showing support. Trainers, if you're interested in a gym, they're doing like I said, the soft launch, the January 15th, so this upcoming Friday. Reach out to Mike Doolittle or Vanessa and come check out the gym and just see if it's someplace that you might want to train clients. Everybody else, definitely look into at least swinging by and checking this place out. So February 1st is going to be the grand opening. It's at 71st and Sheridan. It's on Facebook, so Facebook, I think, .com/Styrka. Look into the gym. You'll have some pictures. I'm going to try and upload some pictures with this particular episode. And you guys can reach us at localalist.com, facebook.com/localalist. You can also reach James at jamespesh.com, and then you can reach me at stephenmoralescpt.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. And check back in a couple months where we're going to have episode 4 covering the success and failures of the launch of Styrka.